Hi, I'm Daniel Heath, and I work for Lonely Planet, and I've spent most of my time in the last year developing client-side web apps, and I've got what I think is a pretty good way of testing my JavaScript together. Now, before I start talking too much about specifics, can I just get a quick show of hands? How many people here use JavaScript particularly heavily, do much client-side development? Yeah, a smattering, fair few. Good to see. And how many of those people have got tests for their JavaScript? I'm seeing a good 4, 5, 6 hands. Awesome. And they're all using CI? Yeah, good stuff. So testing your JavaScript's become really easy over the last year or so, with a lot of new tools coming out. And one in particular that I've been using is jasmine.js. I think it's pretty great. You've got lots of different ways to do it. The only way I would suggest not doing it is trying to test your client-side code in a server-side environment like Node. I can go into detail about that, but the first time you have to debug a test that fails in one environment and works in the browser. So anyway, it's pretty easy to set up your JavaScript test infrastructure. Generally what I'll do is I'll set up a route that serves the spec files and just loads that into an empty page where they can run and report the results. And then I'll have a CI script that visits each page in order. So we have tests and they look sort of like this. You're probably familiar with a whole bunch of setup things. If you've seen the tool like rspec before, the syntax is reasonably similar. And I've got this set up so I can just hit a keyboard shortcut, and this opens up in the wrong window, but otherwise, that's your test run. It's got all the details about the code under test, which tests have passed, which have failed. So it's reasonably where am I can just say, so change one of the assertions and it fails. And this is all well and good, and it's really useful, but it's not a great feedback loop. So after I'd been using that for a few months, I decided I really needed to try and make something better. So what I've done is I have set up a guard file. Now guard is this program that watches a directory for changes to any file and just runs some other code whenever that happens. So I've got this set up watching my test files, and whenever they change, it's running them using Phantom.js. So if I save that, I should see, fantastic. All right, that's on this display. I'm going to quickly just mirror that. Would you just mirror that? Just set it to mirrored. Yeah. So essentially that's just running this headlessly. Now I did just say a minute ago, don't run your tests headlessly. The important difference between an environment like Node.js and Phantom.js is that Phantom embeds WebKit, and so it has all of the quirks of a real browser. It behaves exactly like a real browser behaves, and if I hit save on that now, you'll see Phantom pop up there. We get that failure, and if I undo those changes and save it, then we get success. And that was handy enough. It's very useful, you get fast feedback. The only other problem is that when you come to run all of the tests, if you do them one after another, particularly in Firefox, it gets quite slow. So I worked up this little other script, which is an arcane bit of shell scripting. And it just loads every single test at once. And that brought our test runtime down from 2 minutes to, well, on a good day, 7 seconds, but I think we've added a few longer running ones since then. And there's quite a few work in progress features there, so a lot of these will fail, but the essential idea is we've got the entire suite for our application running in a short enough time that you can basically do it whenever you change anything. So yeah, I'll be posting, that's what I know. I'll be posting details, linked to my blog post where I describe how I've got all of this set up in a bit more detail. I'll just chuck that up on Twitter. That's what I know about JavaScript testing.